We talked about this on the show earlier, Jason. I just want your thoughts, just 2 minutes real quick. Earl asked the question, how interested would you be in Brandon Ingram in any kind of trade that happens this offseason between the Cavs and Pelicans? And my answer was, some people love Brandon Ingram. I'm like, okay, I don't hate him. I don't think he's great. I think he's kind of dependent on system and fit.
Yeah.
He's clearly talented. Like, that dude can score, don't get me wrong, but he's an ISO guy. When he gets the ball, it's kind of a black hole. It kind of stops. He likes to get to the mid-range, and if you're playing with two non-shooting bigs, it just creates more spacing issues. So he isn't at the top of my wish list when it comes to the Cavs in terms of wing priorities, but he also might be the best one available on the market that the Cavs could realistically acquire. So I understand there's kind of a give and take and a balance. He's just not my personal cup of tea when it comes to a pairing for Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, but people may disagree. I'm curious, what do you think about Brandon Ingram in any potential trade with the Pelicans this summer if the Cavs were to acquire the talented 6'8" wing?
He's good, not great. He is a playmaker. You know, he can shoot it. I think he's career like 35-36% three-point shooter.
Right, exactly right there, yeah.
Yeah, averages probably 4 or 5 assists a game. So, like, you know.
His career numbers are 19.5, 5, and 4.
Okay, so there you go. There you go. So, he's not a perfect player by any means. He's incredibly injury prone. And if a guy who's been in their system, how many years has he been in New Orleans now? 4?
5.
5?
He
okay.
played 8 years in the league. He played 3 in LA, then got traded for the Anthony Davis trade.
If you spend 5 years with a team and they don't want to give you the max, why?
And you're a position of need, like a 6'8" wing.
Yes, you are the most coveted position in the league. And your current team has looked at you for 5 years now and says, nah, we're good. Like, that's a red flag. To me, that's a big red flag. But to your earlier point, anybody you get is going to be damaged goods in some form or fashion because this is such a coveted spot. The very best guys are not going to be available. And I'm actually curious to see – I do think the teams match up well. The Pelicans have what the Cavs need and the Cavs have what the Pelicans need. But which piece? Is it Darius for Ingram or is it Jarrett for Ingram? Because those are two very different trades. And I could see either one working with a little massaging. So, and I don't think you're putting both in there. So I'm just curious to see what form that takes. Because again, like, you can look from the Cavs players and say Darius is good, but not great. And there's injury concern there. And he's obviously coming off a terrible year. And Jarrett Allen, you can look and say, good, not great, non-shooting big. So these are all sort of flawed players that you're talking about in this deal, both what you would be sending out and what you would be getting back. So ultimately, I don't think you could say, oh, my God, I can't believe that they would go get Brandon Ingram. I think he's missed like almost a full season over the last couple of years.
He's only played 65 games once in his career. It was his rookie season. 7 straight seasons of under 65. And if you trade for him, he's entering the final year of his deal, Jason. He's going to want, and he's going to get, it's not a question, he's going to get Spotrac projected 5 years, $245. So you're going to pay him essentially a max contract.
I mean, I think he's got it because he's got a year left. I think he's looking at the same 4-208 deal that Donovan's looking at this summer to sign because he's got 1 year. Yeah. So, and again, if your current team is looking at you and saying, we've had this guy for 5 years, we don't feel comfortable giving him that money, but you do. But the Cavs also are in a desperate spot of, like, they've never had great playmaking wings in 20 years outside of LeBron. And you kind of got to take what you can get at this point. So he wouldn't be my number one choice, but maybe he would be the number one choice depending on who's legitimately available this summer because you can't find these guys. I was talking to somebody with the Cavs when they traded Larry Nance Jr. And I said, you needed a wing. And the response was, there ain't none to go get. So they went and got Lauri Markkanen, and they turned him into a wing. They did a hell of a job with it. Like, they nailed it. And now look at Lauri in Utah. But that goes to illustrate the point of you can't find these guys. They don't become available. It's sort of leading into your next topic, NFL quarterbacks, that when you have a great one, you don't let them go. And if you do let them go, there's a reason why you're letting them go.
Yeah, I may have done a bad job articulating it on the show. I'm not like anti-Brandon Ingram. He comes with a lot of risks, and I think you could probably get a little more for your best assets, but maybe I'll be wrong, and will depend on the head coach. I mentioned the fact that he's more of an ISO scorer than someone who fits into an offense. And we just spent all season yelling about JB's offense being stagnant. Well, you want to see more stagnant offense. How about you throw the ball to Brandon Ingram and let him go ISO in the mid-range? Like, that's what he does. And it's not a knock. He's great at it.
Yeah.
But that's what he does. So he's a flawed player. But to your point, so is Darius. So is Jarrett. It almost is a perfect money match, Jason. Darius for Brandon straight up. So that to me makes a little more sense than the Jared Allen side of it, just because of the financial aspect.
Yeah.
But we'll see. The Cavs need a wing. It is by far unquestionably their most prominent need this offseason. A playmaking wing. Brandon Ingram is a playmaking wing. Is he the perfect one? No, but guess what? The perfect ones aren't on the market. So he may end up being the best of what the Cavs can realistically acquire. And he'll come in because I said he's not my favorite player. He'll probably score 39 points a game and 12 rebounds and 8 assists, and I'll have to eat crow. So it is what it is.